Malabkeen, everyone. Welcome to the show. This is the Social Hour. I am Deece. What's up, guys? Thanks for coming back for another episode. Appreciate you being here. And news, if you haven't heard, haven't come by the show recently, which who doesn't come by the show every week? As you guys know, we're part of the Madness Entertainment Network, but the big news is we are now live on Roku, so you can find these shows on Roku every other week for the Social Hour and every week for all the other Madness Entertainment shows. So follow us on the Madness Entertainment Network on Facebook and all that. Get all the great content they have. All sorts of stuff from pop culture, politics, comedy, comic books, and much, much more. So check it out, guys. But we appreciate you being here. Tell a friend, spread the news, spread the mirth, let somebody know. And real quickly, before we get into it with our guest, I would be remiss to not at least mention the crazy events of this last week in here in Utah with the death of Charlie Kirk. We'll talk about that on a future episode. I'm not going to get into that today. I'm going to bring in former producer Travis Swart out. We're going to talk all things politics, pop culture, current events in politics, and what's happening on the down low. We're going to do that soon, but I don't want to do that today. I just didn't want you guys to think I was breezing past it. We're going to do a deep dive on that and some other topics tangentially related to it. So yeah, I am very aware of what happened, but we already had guests booked, and I'm not going to move things around. We will we'll get to it. Yeah, that'll happen. So let's get into where I'm going to be in the upcoming weeks. If you're listening to it the day it comes out on our network on the 17th on Deece Comedy, I will be at Bourbon and Branch tonight, the 17th, in Spring Branch, Texas, and slinging some jokes. And then I will be at the Kings of Horror comic book convention the 19th, 20th, and 21st in San Antonio, Texas with Kill Stand. We've got issue number 1 and 2, and number 3 is coming real soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And then I will be double dipping on Sunday the 21st. I will be at Upstage Comedy Lounge, one of San Antonio's premier comedy clubs, with the THC show returning. Tickets are going fast to that, so you hit the Instagram or hit their website, buy some tickets, and get to that show. That's always a fun one. And then I will be headlining the Dallas Comedy Club on the 25th. So that's a new club, never been there before. I'm excited to get out there. So guys, if you're in Dallas, come out, need the support. Looking forward to checking out that club. I've heard great things. So you're also going to have to apologize, allow me, let me apologize and bear with me. I'm on a couple hours of sleep tonight, this last day, and real bad insomnia streak the last week. So we're going to get through it. I'm going to drink a lot of coffee and we're going to be all right. So we're going to get in with our guest, who might be able to help me find the right location for me to sleep better. She comes to us from Madrid, Spain. She is the recent acquirer of an apartment in Spain, and she is a astrologer and astrocartographer. Please welcome Izzy Guerriera. Did I get that? I feel like I was doing better before.
Guerriera, it's okay.
Guerriera.
Yes.
I got to get the hand motion going. Then you become more Italian the more you get the Guerriera. You got to really lean into it. It's not one of those. English is such like a lazy language. There's no passion in it, right? Because we're just this bastardization of other languages. Whereas like those love languages, the more you lean into them, the more they sound right. You got to get it from the heart.
It's true.
Yeah. So welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So you are originally from New York, but you live in Spain now. Is that correct?
Yes. I'm from New York City, from Brooklyn, and I moved to Spain 6 years ago. Yes. To Madrid, Spain, and I've been there. I've been in the Madrid area like ever since.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh man. Sorry, I'm having something fritz out here. 1 second. This has been a bad. We got a bad start to this, Izzy. That's all right. We're gonna keep plowing through. Um,
No
uh,
worries.
the so what took you from? Skip that. Skip that. Skip that. Skip that. So what took you from New York to Madrid? What was the jump for?
Well, like, I don't know, I've always really liked, exploring, and I've always really liked like foreign countries. And I was like, I want to, like, while I'm young, while I can, I said I want to experience like living in a foreign country. And I had just finished my master's, and I was like working a lot in New York, and like finishing up my master's. And I just was like, where do I want to go? Like, what country do I want to go? And um astrocartography, which is what I practice, did help me choose my location, like kind of helped me finalize my decision.
Hmm.
But I was looking for a country where I spoke the language,
Okay.
a country where it wasn't like super cold, and a country in Europe.
Okay.
And so the choices were basically Spain, Italy, or Ireland, because the UK like left the EU. So
Right. Right.
the Brexit thing. And
Hmm.
so I was like, okay, Ireland has horrible weather. Uh, Italy, I feel like, my parents are from there. I feel like I knew it really well already. Um, and I just want to like discover Spain, and, improve my Spanish and meet people. And like I had visited Spain a couple times, and I really liked the vibe, and my astrocartography like showed me that energetically like it would be like a pretty good country for me. Not like perfect, but that it would be pretty good. And so I just went with it. And I didn't know that I would stay here this long, but like I met my fiance, and we got engaged this summer, in the beginning of the summer. And so yeah, I'm here for the long haul, it looks like.
Nice. I mean, you guys plan on staying there, or is you thinking about going somewhere else?
No, I mean, I think for now, like definitely for like at least in the near future, we're gonna stay here. I mean, we've always talked about maybe like relocating to another part of Spain. Like I really like the coast. Um, but we built like a community in Madrid, and we've made a lot of friends here. And so and it was already a lot for me to move to another country, especially during the pandemic, because you have to think like I moved in
Mhm.
2019, the beginning of 2020, COVID hit. And I felt like I had to adjust twice to the country, because
Sure. Yeah.
when I first got here, like I made all my friends, and then when COVID hit, a lot of them left, and I wanted to stay. I wanted to stick it out. Um, and so yeah, like a lot of them left, and then I felt like I had to, like, once the lockdown ended, because we had a very strict lockdown in Europe, in Spain, in most
Mhm.
of Europe. We weren't even allowed to like take walks, like only to go to the grocery store or like the pharmacy.
Mhm.
Um, and so I felt like once the lockdown ended, I had to like get kind of used to like the new normal, and
Right.
like
Right. Yeah.
meeting, like having to make new friends all over again. So I guess we decided to stay in Madrid because at least for now, because like yeah, having to adjust and adapt twice, it was already a lot. And I have my business, my Your Stellar Truth business, and trying to stay grounded, trying to like, build it and everything, and run it effectively.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there's a lot of distractions here though in Spain. There's so much to do. People love going out. And
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah. I'm not. I've always wanted to go to Spain. It's one of the places in the world I haven't been that I'd love to go. Um, like Europe in general never called to me a lot, but Spain always did. I think it's because I'm Mexican, and maybe I want to go. I want to go see if we maybe could have put up more of a fight, or if we, want to be like, who are these? You listen, guys. What do you? I think we could have. I think we rolled over for this.
I
But
mean, yeah, they're very, the Spaniards are very like cuadrados, we say, like a very, like, stuck, a little bit stubborn, like a little bit stuck in their
Mhm.
ways. So I
Yeah,
could see like, Yeah, that's kind of, I was reading like a book, I forget what it was called, but that's kind of why they lost against a lot of like the indigenous empires, because they were not flexible in the way
Yeah.
they were colonizing. They wanted to just run it like as if it were Spain, but the terrain is different, the people are different, like, so
Well, yeah,
yeah.
when you show up and they're cutting people's heads off and throwing them down pyramid stairs, it's a different world.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, no, I mean, I really have. I've always wanted to go to Spain. What is, like, if you were to go to Spain, as someone who's lived there a while now, what do you suggest for someone who's there that wants to see the best parts of Spain, not like the touristy spots, I like the real stuff, the history.
Yeah, are you like a coast person, like a beach person, or you don't really care about that?
I do like the beach, but I'm into. It doesn't have to be. I mean, I certainly like a good beach day, but
Yeah, so there's this place. Well, first of all, definitely Granada. I don't know if you've heard of it.
mhm.
It was the last. So parts of Spain, like not all of it, but parts of it were conquered for like I think almost 1,000 years by one of the like the I think it was like the caliphate, like the Islamic
Mhm.
caliphate. Granada was like the last city to fall, um, that and like to be reconquered. They call it the La Reconquista, retaken by
Mm.
the Spaniards from
Okay.
um, the Muslims, like Arab Berber kind of like empire that they had over Spain.
Uh,
So so that city has the La Alhambra, which is like this huge, like is beautiful Islamic palace. It's so beautiful. It has beautiful gardens and grounds. And it's not too touristy, and it's in the south, so it's basically pretty warm most of the year. It doesn't get too cold. Like Madrid, where I am, does get cold in the winter. It gets
what's
like,
cold? What are we talking? Yeah.
like 40s, 30s.
Okay. I mean, that's colder than I want it to be. I mean, I moved to Texas for a reason.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah, but it gets colder than Texas, than most of Texas, I think. But I would recommend Granada, and also like on the coastal side, I really like. So Barcelona is very touristy and very cliche, but
yeah.
like if you go like north, there's the Costa Brava, and it's like it's a bit posh, like, but there's such beautiful beach towns all along that coast. My favorite one is called Cadaqués. It's near France, and
Hmm.
it's where Salvador Dali, the
Yeah.
artist,
Oh yeah.
where he was from. So there's this little house dedicated to his work, and it's got like a very nautical feel, and it's like very, you could really only get there by car, so there's not a lot of tourists. I would recommend those two places. Those were like my favorite places I've ever visited in Spain, honestly. And also San Sebastian in the north, the Basque country
Mm-hmm.
is really, really, really nice as well.
Well,
But yeah, there's a lot to see. But if you're looking for like hidden gems, I would say those three places are like
okay.
really like worth a
Well,
visit.
normally I wouldn't want to be near that close to France, but you did sell me with the Salvador Dali thing. I'm a big Salvador Dali fan. So maybe
Yeah.
that would be the place to go. So especially if they've got any of his art exhibits or anything like that over there. So I've got like 3 of his pieces in my room over here, actually. So
Oh, that's so
not
cool.
originals, of course, but Prince of. I love his work. So.
Yeah, no, they have like a little, it's called Casa Dali, and it's like it's a bunch of his work, and it's a house. So it feels really like, imagine a house just full of that artwork. It's
Yeah,
awesome. It's
yeah.
really awesome.
Just feel like you're on acid all the time. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, the good news, how do they know when they need to repair the house? They're like, no, that's just the art. It's just the melting house.
I
Do
know.
we need to repaint this, or is this just part of the aesthetic at this point? Um, so, um, That- so what? What's what was the learning curve, like moving from New York to Spain? I mean, New York's a pretty multicultural city, obviously. It sounds like you come from a multicultural background, language-wise and family-wise also. But were you pretty well traveled before that, or was it kind of just dive in and see what happens?
Yeah, I mean, like I had traveled, both like with family and on my own, with friends, solo. I mean, I'm not one of those people that's like seen every country. Just economically, it hasn't been possible for me
Well,
to see everywhere.
I gotta tell you, there's some not worth seeing.
Yeah,
You know,
I would agree. I would so agree. I would so
there's
agree. But I
there's
feel
some
like
of the
most
stuff like
places I feel like most places I've visited I've liked.
no, and that is
Most
true.
of them.
I'm just going to say there's probably a couple places that more so even as a woman are probably less advantageous to see. You just they're
Yeah.
they're not as kind to
Yeah,
not as
no.
welcoming to the other.
Or too welcoming.
Yeah. Well, welcoming is a nice way to say it.
Welcoming.
So so there's definitely some we're skipping, but yeah, no, most countries are. It's I spent a lot of time in Central and South America, and it's like even some of the places people wouldn't think of are just really just if you're a little more open as a traveler, don't need it bougie, you can really have some great interesting engagements, and see some beautiful stuff.
Yeah, yeah, like I had traveled. I had been to like Mexico, like Costa Rica, like bunch of places in Europe, obviously Italy, like Canada, some places, Morocco. I had studied in Morocco, and
Oh wow.
that's how I went to Spain, because you could take a boat from the north of
Yeah.
Morocco to Spain.
Yeah.
That was the first time I went to Spain. So I had traveled, and I don't think the adjustment really had anything to do with me like having traveled or not. I think what was hard is like the language has not been hard even in the beginning. Like I feel like I picked it up really quickly because I already came with a decent level of Spanish. But I guess what's been hard is like, yeah, like Europe just has a lot of bureaucracy,
Mm.
and um it's really really difficult to navigate, and it's requires a lot of patience, and like, yeah, like the housing market is in a really bad spot right now. So I guess like every time I had looked for like an apartment or something, or if I had to move and look for a new apartment, that was always like very 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 stressful to deal with, like
Yeah.
incorrect, like incredibly like panic attack stressful.
So were you on like a work visa or travel visa? How was your travel? How was it working with you being there?
So I'm really lucky because I have an Italian passport because my mom was born there. So
Oh,
I could live in any European Union country. That's
got
why,
it.
like I said, I couldn't live in the UK because they were leaving the EU. So for UK, I would need a visa.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, living in the UK these days, you got to watch your P's and Q's a little more. Um,
yeah, I had no interest in living there, honestly. I mean, I love London, but like I was like, it's really expensive, and I don't know,
well, you tweet
the
the wrong thing.
weather. Yeah,
They're hauling people to jail for tweeting the wrong thing now. So I feel like
yeah.
it's a dangerous precedent. There's that whole freedom thing that's nice. You want to find a country that is a little.
Yeah, I think
uh,
Spain is a little better. I wouldn't say much better, but a little better.
oh, really?
Yeah.
So you can travel and you can live there without any type of there's no documentation, there's no foreign, no nothing. It's just you have a Italian passport, so anywhere in the you're considered an Italian citizen, so anywhere in the EU you can live.
Yeah, like all I had to do was get like my national number, my
Okay.
national ID number, which is called the NIE. I
Hmm.
think it's like Número de Identidad de Español or something. And so I just had to just get that number, and I just got it with the passport. And um I just had to prove that I had an address. But sometimes it's hard because sometimes without the NIE, they won't rent to you.
Oh yeah.
So it was a little like in the beginning, I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, do I get an apartment first? Do I get the NIE first? So I got the NIE first though, and then the apartment. So it worked out. But yes, with the bureaucracy, it depends who you get on a given day.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could just want to, you know, what's the saying? Yeah, like push your buttons. Like, I don't know. They could just want to bother you and be difficult and be
Yeah.
like add some arbitrary rule that you didn't know existed. So, yeah, the biggest adjustment has really been like dealing with the housing and the bureaucracy, and the people. I mean, I've made a lot of friends here, and Spanish people, like, they have a really funny humor, and I do like them, but their way of being is really different from New Yorkers. Like, it's just really different. It's just like, it's just, yeah, very different, and I feel it's definitely like the classism is really like big here. Like,
okay.
And I don't know, it's just that shocked me because, you know, Europe has more like whatever social services and all of that than the US, so you would think they'd be a bit more like aware of certain things, but it's like there's a huge kind of class divide, I guess you could say.
Sure.
At least in Madrid, it's pretty like intense.
Does it feel like you're treated like a foreigner, or do you feel like you're treated like a you know, like a citizen? Is there some obvious like, oh, this person is not from here, and I don't mean necessarily always as like a pejorative, like you're treated poorly or like a second class citizen, but I mean, you know, just different, you know, that like like you are a guest in a sense. Does that make sense?
I feel like with me, I guess because of like the way I look, that doesn't really happen. Because I kind of could pass for someone from here. Like if you see like women from here, like there's definitely a lot that kind of resemble me.
Yeah.
Like just dark hair and white skin and brown eyes. Yeah, like but not super pale, you know, like, but yeah, I would say it depends on the person. It depends on who you encounter. I think certainly with like older people, like 60s and up, 50s and up, like people who are significantly older than me, I would say yes, you get more of that. But with like people who are in their 30s, 20s, or like even 40s, I would say that doesn't tend to happen. They tend to be very welcoming with me. Now my partner is he's Venezuelan, and he's like visibly not Spanish. And he has a lot of Spanish friends, and he's very like well integrated with his friends. But like when we talk about on a societal level, like sometimes people treat him very, very badly.
Yeah. I mean,
like I'm talking like, and we're not the types who like I don't know, we're not like, oh, like I've had friends who like they live here and they don't like Spanish people and they won't associate with them because they think that they're all racist and this and that. And I'm like, my partner and I, like my fiance and I, are not like that. Like we're pretty like laid back. Like we're pretty like, okay, well, this person's just not a nice person and this person's a good person. But he has experienced like a lot of racism and like not being accepted.
I don't doubt that at all. I mean, you know, not to put a sweeping statement on this Spain, but I'm about to, and I don't mean this to all Spanish people, but in general, Spain as a country is kind of notorious for being pretty fucking racist. You know, they're the country that during like the World Cup they're playing like some African country and we're like throwing bananas on the field and things like that. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It is one of the things that I think here this is not by any means to sidestep or make excuses for any type of racism or bigotry, but oftentimes America is painted as this extremely racist and intolerant country, and when really America is one of the only melting pot countries where there truly is some integration, you know, because when you go to a place like Spain, and I'm sure, you know, there's younger people, more progressive, it's changing, but there's definitely a very racist culture. I mean, my family is from Mexico, and I have uncles that were born and raised in Mexico that like have a deep disdain for people from like Guatemala and Ecuador, you know, and it's like, it's so funny because I'm like, and here's the thing, and if you take those people and bring them to America, first of all, typical American wouldn't even be able to tell the difference between a Guatemalan.
I know, they think it's all Mexico.
Yeah,
Literally.
like but it's like, so it just travels, right? It's just it's like, and it's one of those things where I always say, like, just look at our Olympic team. Like, you look at any of our Olympic teams and it's multicultural. You look at like the Chinese Olympic swimming team or whatever, it's just gonna be all Chinese people. Like, there's no integration of other societies, right? So yeah, it's just interesting to hear that from someone living in Spain, that it does. And with as soon as you said I assumed he was Spanish. He was from Spain. As soon as you said Venezuela.
No, he's not. He has like the citizenship. He acquired citizenship, which is really good, because when you apply for jobs or housing and they see you're not a citizen, good luck. Good luck. That's all I'm gonna say. Good luck. But I have to say, like, in the last, like, since I got here, I think there has been more immigration. A lot more people are coming. The president here, Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, he's been very, very open with immigration, but like 61% of the people disapprove of the population disapprove of him and the immigration. So that's like kind of the answer to what you're saying. Yeah, like it's pretty racist. Not everyone, but it's also, you have to think these countries like Italy and Spain, they the median age is very old because the birth rate is really low and the life expectancy is really high. Yeah. So it becomes kind of a problem because you have a country run by very old people who, like, for example, to be an entrepreneur here is really difficult, because as a self-employed person, you have to pay much higher taxes than a regular employee, much higher taxes. And the people running the country tend to be like much older, and they're just out of touch, and they've only ever worked for the government and government positions. So they don't understand like the young people that we want to innovate, that we want to do new things. So these countries, Spain and Italy, are really having a lot of problems because of this. The median age is so high, and it's just everything is in the benefit of the older population.
Right.
Well, so the pensions are higher than a lot of the salaries.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of insane.
Sustainable, isn't sustainable long term. Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel any better, again, you've been out of America for a while. It's all old people running America still too, that are out of touch. So
it's crazy because the U.S. has a younger demographic. I don't understand how that happened, but here there's a reason for it. But there, I'm like,
yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, I like really have been I'm very vocal. I'm like, we need to have like a there's a minimum age to run for president. I think there should be a maximum age, and I mean, for me the cap is like 60. After that,
or just like the term limits, like Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, they've been there since I was a kid, I feel. And I'm turning 32, so their time's up, I think. They need to step down and give it to someone else, in my opinion.
100%. Yeah, they just don't. They're out of touch. They're bought and paid for. They have no idea what is actually, real Americans, people who are actually like living the American life, that's personally why I like state senators for like your state congressional or state senators instead of like national senators, like our state Congress in Texas and things like that, because those representatives make like $7,200 a year, right? They haven't have a real job. And those people are actually, so they're normal people who are
$7,200 or $72,000?
$7,200 a year. So for your state, for like your state senate, not like the U.S. So your state senate. Okay. So those people, because it's a part-time job, and they're only in session passing state laws, legislature, only a couple, I don't know how many. I think it's only like 72 days a year or some crazy, not a lot, right? But those people are normal people who still have to have a job and are actually affected by the laws they pass,
Right.
Whereas the people, Nancy Pelosi, she's not affected by anything she votes up or down. It doesn't, she's like above all that now. Any of those people who've been in Congress or Senate that long are. So yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's get, I would say 8 years max, and then you gotta.
Yeah, like I understand you need some time to make to affect change, but not like 30 years. Like it's like, come on.
Yeah, not in perpetuity, not for just forever. Yeah, and the funny thing is, you look at any of the districts or areas those people represent, and you're like, is that area doing any better than it was when you started?
Probably not.
Yeah,
Probably not.
So, well, maybe you could help those people who live there find a spot that's better for them.
Yeah.
So, well, Izzy, I want to talk about what you do, because so I'll be honest with you. Normally, this type of thing it borders on something that isn't in my wheelhouse for what I generally want to put on this show. And I mean, take that in the spirit it's intended, not because of anything other than it's just not really in my wheelhouse. But the astrocartography thing, that is a mouthful. Got me very interested in what I want to know more about that. Give us people an elevator pitch on what you do, and then we'll break it down a little more.
Okay, so basically what I do as an astrologer and astrocartographer, sorry. First of all, I know how to read birth charts, like the general astrology, but the astrocartography is, I guess, a bit more niche. What it is it's a sect of astrology, like a subdiscipline of astrology that was developed in the 70s by a man named Jim Lewis from the US. And he found that it is possible to map your birth chart against a map of the world, and that when you relocate, your birth chart relocates with you. And while your original birth chart, which, represents your personality, your instincts, your kind of way of being, your experiences, while that, is always going to be your birth chart, the relocated chart represents more the experiences that you would be most likely to have in that location, the type of vibe that you would feel, the energies that you would encounter there. And just basically how different situations can play out when you relocate from one place to another based on your relocated chart.
Can I interject real quick and ask you a clarifying question for definitely not for me, only for listeners, because I definitely know this part. Can you quantify a birth chart?
So, okay, like a birth chart. So in order to know your birth chart, you need to know your date of birth exactly, and your exact time of birth and the location of birth. And you could put it in a calculator. There's different ones online that are free. And the way it works is that a birth chart has 12 houses, and each house represents a different area of life. And then you also have the planets, which fall in different signs and fall in different houses. And so different planets will rule different parts of your character and personality. So for example, your sun sign, that's like the most cliche astrology thing. Like your sun sign is your identity, and your baseline personality. Your moon is your moon sign represents your emotional needs. Your Mercury sign represents the way that you think and communicate, and so on and so forth. And so when those planets in those signs are in a house, they kind of activate that area of life and bring the themes of those planets and those signs into that area of life. So for example, let's say we have Venus, which tends to bring ease in getting what we want, and more relaxation and kind of attraction more effortlessly. in the 10th house of career, for example. If we see someone with Venus in the 10th house for career, their career life could be expected to go more easily than someone who, say, has Saturn in the 10th house, which brings more restriction and burdens and obstacles. And this is not to say that someone with Venus in the 10th house is going to be more successful than someone with Saturn in the 10th house. It's just their experiences, their paths are going to be different, and they're going to have to navigate those energies.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
I hear the phrase like Mercury is in retrograde, so like a justification of shitty behavior a lot of the times. And I'm always like, maybe Mercury isn't in retrograde and you're just an asshole. That's usually like, it's that seems like this blanket excuse I hear a lot for things. Is there any validity to this?
Okay, so like when Mercury is in retrograde, okay, so first of all, I practice evolutionary astrology. So we believe that you do have free will. Like just because you have a bad placement in your chart, or quote unquote bad, or just because Mercury's in retrograde doesn't mean that you could behave badly and be a jerk.
Yeah.
But when Mercury's in retrograde, what tends to happen is, because Mercury rules communication and thinking and the mind, when it's moving backwards, like the theory is that like we're being affected by it moving backwards. So like communication, like there's more miscommunication. There might be more like technical errors because we're not thinking as straight. So they recommend like not to sign major contracts during a Mercury retrograde, for example, or not, maybe not taking on like a new job and signing on that during Mercury retrograde, because like there might be some kind of issue with it, if that makes sense. So, and like communication could feel foggier, like technology could be failing more, and just the overall vibe feels weird. And I feel it. Like sometimes I haven't even known that it's Mercury in retrograde, and I'm like feeling that it's like that, and then I check and it is Mercury retrograde.
Interesting. Yeah. See, my whole introduction to this is I was years ago, a girl I dated was super into astrology, and I'm a Libra, and she was super interested in that. And she was mad at me because her dad was also a Libra, and she didn't like her dad. And she's like, "Oh my God, you and my dad born in the same month. What are the odds?" And I was just like,
the thing is,
I don't know.
I think that's the mistake a lot of people make, because they don't know, like maybe they don't fully understand astrology, like because your sun sign is only one part of your chart. Like you have your sun sign, you have your moon sign, you have your Mercury sign, you have your Venus sign, your Mars sign. Like Venus shows how you like approach relationships with others. Mars shows how you take action when threatened or confronted. Mercury shows the way that you think and communicate and process information. So like you might be a Libra sun, but maybe your moon is in, I don't know, Cancer, and your Mercury is in Scorpio. And so that could maybe not make you super like Libra. But then I know some Libras who have like Libra sun, Libra moon, Libra Venus, Libra Mars, and they're like very like heavy Libra energy.
That's me. I've done this before with someone. They charted that out, and I'm almost exclusively Libra across the board. I'm like through and through. There's a couple other things that leak in there, but it's mostly it's almost all Libra.
Wow. Yeah, that's like me. I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart, and we have a horrible reputation as a sign. Scorpio and Gemini. A lot of people don't like Scorpios and Geminis. And I'm like,
this is going to
like,
sound
I'm like, you guys could stay hating. I don't care.
Scorpio you're born December?
November.
Late November, right? November into December?
No. It's like October, I think 23rd until November 22nd, like around there.
What's December?
Sagittarius. And Capricorn is more towards the end.
Oh yeah, Scorpio. Yeah, Scorpio's right after Libra. That's right.
It's right after Libra, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now I was thinking Sagittarius is the one that bad news for me. I am almost exclusively a Libra through and through, and I feel like every time I read things about Libras, I am very much, it does fit
It
me.
resonates. It
it,
resonates.
it resonates, but it's always one of those things too. I'm like, is this resonating because like it feels good to feel seen or something, or is it legitimate? But it usually, if you look up, like, how, if you're the professional, how would you quantify a Libra?
A Libra, I mean, like someone with like heavy Libra energy, you mean, or just a Libra sun? Because a Libra sun, like I said, they could have other placements. But I guess
Like,
like the sign Libra, I would say, like stereotypically speaking, tends to like be a bit more conflict avoidant, more passive aggressive, very strategic, very diplomatic, um, socially oriented. I mean, you do have a podcast called The Social Hour, so
that
I
okay.
think that no, I just think that speaks for itself.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. I mean,
um,
I do stand-up comedy for a living, so that's,
yeah, socially oriented, like Libra, like some people call it the mirror, like because they're very much able, especially Libra moons, like I have moon in Libra, they're very much able to kind of feel out like the needs and kind of what the other person in a situation needs or what other people are looking for. And sometimes they receive criticism for trying to mold themselves to be what the other person wants them to be.
mm,
That's like the more like unevolved, like negative side of Libra. But like, the more positive side is that they tend to be like very considerate. They tend to be very like more like understanding. They have a lot of empathy because they're able to relate to the other person very well and see the other and put themselves in the other person's shoes.
mhm.
And also, they tend to dislike conflict. They seek the what's that expression? I'm forgetting all the expressions in English. This is the problem. They the path of least
Oh, least
resistance. They
resistance.
choose the path. They're known for choosing the path of least resistance. And yeah, they tend to like be very like, especially the women, because it's ruled by Venus.
Mhm.
Venus is the ruling planet of Libra, so they tend to be like into looks and appearance and beauty, fashion, um, all of those things. They have like a certain eye for the aesthetics.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, some of that, a lot of that resonates. Uh, I don't, I would say
The
that,
indecisiveness too. I forgot that they could be. You have to
uh,
think it's the scales, and they're always like trying to weigh, literally like weigh the options, and they could deliberate a lot.
yeah, I like to think we're just meticulous and thorough.
Yeah.
I will say, it's funny you say you said the empathy of like, which I guess is one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is like, I'm very often playing devil's advocate.
Oh
Because,
yes, that's because again they could see put themselves in the other person's shoes so easily.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think part of it, if I'm gonna go on this journey of astrology with you, part of it is that we are very firm in our sense of justice and fairness, right? And in like law schools and ethics and debate, even, they tell you, they teach you that you can't justify your own side unless you can defend the opposing side. So, meaning you have to be able to like steelman the opposing argument, before you can actually really mentally be able to steelman your own. So I'm constantly like, if I disagree with something or firmly agree with something, I always want to have like a thought experiment of what is that other side, what is the other view, and why do I feel this way, and what would the other person say to me if we were having this conversation. um
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes because I have my moon in Libra, and like sometimes that could be a good thing, like to have a nuanced mind. But like then I guess the Scorpio in me kicks in and is more with the black and white thinking. So like that's a dilemma for me, because like sometimes I can see both sides, but then other times I'm like, no, this person is just blatantly wrong, or they're just blatantly a bad person, and I can't, and I'm choosing a side firmly and standing with it, you know.
Yeah. You know, I mean, once I have a side, I'm steadfast, but I definitely like look at all angles of things. It's part of the reason that I think I'm like politically homeless. Like I'm not conservative. I'm not liberal. I'm somewhere in the middle. And I haven't voted for a major political party in, you know, a decade. And probably never will again in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I could kind of relate in the sense that, like, I don't know, like a lot, I don't want to say I'm not left or right, but I don't feel like, I feel like a lot of the people that are out there are just like not worth voting for.
Yeah. Well, and you know, I look at things and I can see things from, you know, sometimes I look at one topic and I'm like, yeah, this makes more sense this way. And then I look at another topic that might be a talking point for the other side and be like, well, that makes a little more sense this way. So yeah, but I definitely like to, you know, look at things from all sides and angles. So, but again, as kind of a stereotype, Libras have like justice and fairness is kind of a big thing for us.
Yeah, as a Libra moon, I relate. Like for me, if something is unfair, it like hits me to my core, like it hurts me. I like need to right the wrong.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know? So where do you get someone's birth chart and you start working on trying to figure out where they should go or what would be ideal for them? I mean, is there a general way to do it, or are you looking at like if they have a certain
So yeah, I'll break it.
Want to accomplish, or
yeah, I'll break it down. So basically, when I work with clients, I give them an intake form, you know. And so that form has like several questions. It's obviously their birth info and their name and email, but it also has like, it asks for, you know, what are they looking to attract into their life currently? What does their current situation look like? Where are they right now? Have any of the locations they've lived in either now or in the past been significant or relevant? Where are some locations they're considering relocating to? And if they have no freaking idea, then I have to do more work and more research. But yeah, I basically, based on that, I look at their chart. Most people book a combo. They book a chart reading with astrocartography, because when I do the chart reading, I can really get a sense of like, who is this person and what are their needs? What are their goals? Who are they? What do they need? And so based on the chart, by looking at the chart, I could see what they need in a location, and based on the chart and also based on just what they tell me in the intake form. And then, I look into the relocated charts and the planetary lines, but the planetary lines are basically, it's the same thing. It's the more like popularized version of astrocartography. Like the planetary lines, basically all they are is when a planet, luminary, or celestial body falls like close to a birth chart angle. The birth chart has 4 main angles and then 12 houses. That forms a planetary line. And that brings like a certain energy to that location. So I look at their lines. I look at like what lines would be best for them to live on based on what they're looking for. Then I look in at the relocated chart to get more information about the places. And then, I work with them and I go through it with them and I go through my findings and, which places I feel would be more supportive for what and why. And yeah.
How long does this process take you?
About like 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
It's long, but I like to be thorough. I really want the person, the client, to get like the best experience possible.
Is there like a Reader's Digest version where I tell you where I live now and when I was born, and you can give me you can throw out some thoughts? Or is it you gotta break down the whole thing?
Oh, hold on one second.
Oh.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, there's something for the house that we have to do. And
Oh,
no, let me just tell them. I'm so sorry about that.
it's okay. Houses are important.
Okay, no worries. Okay. So, what were we saying? So, yeah, that's it's I can't what were you asking me? If I could do what?
I said I was just asking if there's like a Reader's Digest version of this where you can, like in a snapshot, or where you can brief information can tell you things, or you need to really break down this whole chart. The more the information, the more thorough, I assume. But
Yeah, there you could. I do offer like mini sessions where I like maybe will look into less locations, but it's really better to just be as thorough as possible because this is like a big decision. These are this is relocation.
yeah,
This is a big deal. So I don't want people to be guided the wrong way or just more so given like not enough information.
yeah,
Like I wouldn't want them to be in a predicament where they're choosing their location and they don't have enough information and guidance,
yeah. Does it ever tell you something? You're like, oh, this says you're supposed to be in Turkmenistan, or you're like,
I mean, like, I don't think like I never tell a person like, okay, you're supposed to be here, but like I look at different locations and I could gauge and see that okay, this place could be really good for your career, or this place could be really good for romance, or this place could be really good for both. This place could be really good for like a spiritual retreat or like relaxation or just like kind of like a little escape. Like different places could be really good for different motives. And
sure,
it's very difficult to find a quote unquote perfect place, but you could find like a better place than where you're living now. And right now especially I'm getting a lot of clients from the US because they're really scared about the political situation and things like that. So they're like, okay, I want to find the best place for me in Europe or in South America, like, so I'll find them the best place in that like part of the world that
okay. So
I
it's
that I can
not,
find for them. So it's not like, okay, you belong here.
yeah,
No,
it's not. It's
no.
not the whole globe where you're like, they're like, Tallahassee. Are you sure? Like,
I mean,
like,
sometimes like it's surprising. Like the other day, I had this woman, and she just was like, uh, I don't care. Like, I'm open to anywhere. Like, I have money or whatever. Like, I could live wherever I want. And I was like, okay. So, one of the places I found that looked really good for her, like energetically, was Iran. And she was
wow,
like, actually, I've always been attracted to Iran. And I was like, really? And then she was like, yeah, I'm like half Iranian. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know that.
yeah,
So,
hey,
it really, yeah, it depends, but I've had interesting ones where like I had this couple that they were interested in moving to Europe, and it's especially hard to do a couples reading. It's especially hard to do a couples reading because it's like their two charts could be so different, you
yeah,
know? And so I really, based on what they were looking for, I couldn't really find anywhere in Europe. And then we kind of settled on New York.
hmm.
Because they were in Cali, and they're just energetically can't anymore with Cali. And I saw in their charts that it was not good anymore. And so I said for them, I found that New York would be really good.
Hmm. The now, have you done this for your fiance?
Yeah, for my fiance, for my family, for friends, for myself.
Is
Yeah,
is is Spain also a good,
Spain,
'cause
yeah. Spain is very good for him. I would say like from my findings, socially it's really, really good. And for like feeling comfortable long term, it's very good. Career wise, like it seems like it's sort of taking time. Like there's a placement that we both have in our relocated chart that's actually like the same. it seems like it's like the career is a bit slower. It's like taking more time to like really thrive in our career, but it's like that placement we have in the relocated chart is like about like building a really good foundation and then going
Mhm.
from there. So like
Okay.
requires a lot of patience. But yeah, it's pretty good for the both of us though, I must say.
So how many of your people who come to you, feel like, do you get a lot of feedback afterwards of how these people are progressing in new locations and what, if it's working out?
Yes, I do. And for the like honestly, like for the most part, like very few of them, like the people that I've moved with, sorry, that I've worked with, like um none of them have really said anything that like negative about where they've moved. It's always been more like logistical stuff.
Mm.
Like, oh, like I didn't know that in Portugal the health insurance was so expensive. Like they'll write to me like that. They'll be like, "Oh my God, I'm loving whatever country. It's going really well." But then like a few people will be like, but I didn't know that the health insurance would be so expensive. And I always say, there are relocation specialists that people can work with who do help with the visa stuff, the health insurance, all of that. And I always recommend that they look into that as well. I'm kind of trying to pivot my business from like also including relocating, like relocation counseling,
Hmm.
because I know how to do all that. It's just like that would be a lot of work on top of what I already do.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and then some people that I've worked with, like, they just haven't made the move yet. They're not ready. They don't feel ready, or like they're just not ready for whatever reason. But the people that I've worked with, like, um, that have made the move, like, have all been very happy. The only thing is that they were like, oh, like the health insurance or certain like logistical things were stressful. But I feel
How
like when you move abroad, it's always something.
Sure, yeah, there's going to be a learning curve. There's going to be stuff that's unexpected. It's different. But um, how much of these people are experiencing do you think could be chalked up to like placebo effect? And what I mean is, like, if someone is coming to you,
Hmm.
they probably have the idea that they want to be somewhere else anyway, right? So it means they're probably unhappy where they are at the moment. So, going somewhere new can be exciting enough as it is. Do you think there's some, if any, percentage of it,
Hmm.
not to, not
No, 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 I'm
to
gonna stop you right
discredit
there.
what you're doing. I'm just asking, because I mean, there is like you go somewhere new and you're like, oh, look, life's better because I moved.
Um, well, here's the thing. Like I said, I ask my clients also, where have you lived before now?
Okay.
All right. And so, for example, I had two clients, no, more than two, maybe three or four, that all lived on a very difficult planetary line. They lived on their Pluto IC line. Pluto tends to bring loss, transformation, even death. And the IC is the home, like the literal home. That's the angle of the home.
Well, yeah, Pluto can't even decide if it's a planet. It's transforming
Yeah,
every other
it's
week.
yeah, I know. And so it's small but mighty, it's a small planet, or not even a planet anymore, but whatever.
Yeah, it
And
sounds a ghost.
all of those people, like, be it that they lost their home in a fire, that they experienced major family deaths,
Mhm.
that they married and got divorced multiple times in that location on that line. And this is telling me about, like, this is before they told me anything about what happened to them there. They just said, for example, oh, I used to live in Los Angeles, or I used to live in Cape Town, South Africa, for example. Like, and I look at their relocated chart, and I've said, oh, like, I had this other client. I was like, okay, like, this, you lived in Germany before. I was like, I see that you must have been like, you might have been very, very, very socially isolated and lonely. And she's like, that's exactly how I felt there.
Mm.
So I get what you're saying. And also in the beginning, there's always, when you move abroad, there's always the honeymoon phase. There's always the honeymoon phase.
Sure.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I recently worked with a woman who relocated from Thailand to Spain. And I felt like, you know, and I think she wanted to work with me because I live in Spain. So it made a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like she was like, her chart in Spain was good, like her astrocartography and stuff, but I really felt like talking to her, like she was really romanticizing Spain. And I was like, you got to take off those rose-colored glasses right now.
Yeah.
Because it was like Thailand bad, Spain good. And I was like, no, there's gonna be different types of issues. There's gonna be different types of issues in any country that is even apart from the energetic feeling. But I do really think that some places could, on paper, be super beautiful, super safe, super clean, super affordable, and you're not happy there because energetically it just doesn't feel right.
Sure.
And I've had that with clients where they're like, you know, I live in whatever city and I make really good money and I have a really good relationship and I have a good job and I'm safe and this and that, but I'm like over it. I don't feel anything here anymore. I don't, energetically it feels off.
Yeah. How much responsibility, if any, do you push onto the client also to maybe do some internal work also? Because, you know, a lot of times if someone's that unhappy and reaching out to someone like you, you know, they're probably have some level of unhappiness, or they're just not satisfied with what's happening in their life. And a lot of that too, not to say, again, I'm not discrediting what you're doing, but also, you know, you can put someone anywhere, but if they're not changing certain things that they feel or do, you know, their own internal kind of workings, they could be sabotaging the place that's best for them too, you know.
Yeah, and I always, like, when especially with the birth chart reading included, I do tell clients very, very honestly, like, some of their tendencies and things they might need to work on and things that they might need to get a hold of before going abroad or before just moving. I mean, not everybody goes abroad. Like, I had a client a couple months ago who was relocating from, I think, Texas to North Carolina or something. You know, it's not always like it's not so black and white, right? So there's that aspect of like me kind of helping them do some work on themselves and helping them understand their tendencies and kind of their inclinations a bit better. But then also in astrology, we have something called transits. And transits they're sort of predictive. Like, you could kind of see the energies a person is the energies that a person is experiencing at a given time and date. So even sometimes if you are in the right location, you might be going through a difficult transit, and that could be affecting you no matter where you are.
Yeah.
So I do, you know, remind clients, because I get really frustrated when people come to me. This is the most common thing. I think there is a huge loneliness epidemic. And people come to me and they're like, I want to find my husband. Like, it's like every other person, like they want to, and I'm like, I'm not a matchmaker. Like, I'm not a psychic. Like, I could tell you where the locations that show me good energy around romance and love. But, like, you know, if you are afraid to go out and date and put yourself out there, doesn't matter where you are. If you stay home all day, you're not going to meet anybody. You know, so I do remind them, because I have had people who, you know, they're giving me a little bit like hermit energy, and they're like, oh, I'm so lonely. I want a husband or whatever. And I'm like, well, you have to get over that fear of going out with your friends and putting yourself out there first.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah. And that's kind of what I mean, is that the people who are probably in the position where they're reaching out to get your expertise, and if they're like, you know, this woman who's like, I want to find my husband, you know, it seems like one of the first things those people probably need to hear is, it sounds like you need to find yourself. And then, because like we can move you to the right spot, but like, you can find them the best spot to set them up for success for that. But they also still have to be willing and able to accept it, see it, and
a place could be good for a period of time, but maybe not forever, because maybe a place was super great for a career, but now they want to retire and just chill.
Yeah.
We go through different phases in life. I don't think we're really necessarily meant to live in the same place forever and ever.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's certainly, with the world open these days, we can go a lot of places. So, have you ever charted anyone and been like, you are exactly where you're supposed to be?
Yes. It's rare, but yes, twice. And you know where they both were? New York.
Where?
New York. My
Interesting.
city. Yeah. Oh, New York. I love New York so much. I know a lot of people in the US hate it, but well, it's their problem.
I've still never been.
What?
No, never been. Never been.
No, you can't tell me this. I get so mad when people tell me that in the US they've told me they've never been there. Oh no, you have to go.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's like I there was a time that I had more of a desire to go when I was younger and did nightlife and things like that. In city life, I don't really do that much anymore. I mean, it would be interesting to see it at some point.
Yeah, but for your comedy, like, it could be a good place. But
Yeah,
although, like, the Northeast humor is, I think, maybe different. I don't know.
It's not even that so much as like, I mean, I've I performed in the East Coast, like a lot through Pennsylvania and up into the Carolinas and Delaware and Maine, and I mean, I've been just never in New York. And when I was younger, I probably would have wanted to more. Now it's kind of like, because here's the thing, when I have time off and want to go do something, I'm going to the jungle in Costa Rica or Belize or Peru, or Panama, and just want to be like, I don't want to see people and technology in cities.
Yeah. But New York also has like really beautiful nature. Like I went to New Paltz in the Hudson Valley. It's real, and there's the Catskills, the Adirondacks. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, and I believe that too. But I also lived in the Pacific Northwest for quite a while, and I don't think you're going to beat the Pacific Northwest when it comes to mountains and outdoors and hiking.
Yeah. It's different. It's different. I think it's different.
It is different. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not just, I don't want to disparage New York. I just feel like I've gotten past the point where there's an itch there. And when I have time to go do stuff.
Yeah. Like if life brings you there, but now. Yeah, I understand. I feel that way about like a lot of places, honestly.
Yeah. Because I mean, I grew up in LA, and I was, obviously LA and New York are different cities, but I've done big city life, and that's not what I love anymore. So big, busy metropolises are not really what I'm, my go-to anymore.
I get it. They could be overwhelming, stressful. New York is also so expensive. Like, it is crazy. It's really it's gone too far. It's gone too far.
Yeah. Well, I just don't I don't drink anymore. I'm not like if I go out, the only thing that I do if I go out at night is because I'm performing comedy. Maybe I go watch comedy, but I rarely do that anymore just because I live, eat, and breathe it as a career. So it's like, I don't, it's like nightlife, and it's just not, like I got a little mini farm here in Texas with chickens and a bunch of dogs and grow my own food. And like, that's more my speed these days.
Yeah, I understand. I get it.
So, well, Izzy, you said you had a promo code for your products for listeners.
Yes. You 20% off of any order from my website.
Okay.
That includes like the chart readings, the astrocartography readings. I have an ebook. And the code is in caps Stellar, and then 2025.
2025. Okay. And we'll put that in the show notes. And yeah, okay. Couple last questions. First of all, how easy would it be for you to steal an identity, given that people have to tell you their date of birth, where they were born? I feel like
No. I mean,
you're like, oh, what's your mother's maiden name and your first dog's name? Okay, no, I need that for the
No. I mean, like, look, I can't calculate the charts without it. It's just impossible.
Sure. That's what you say. That's how I got scammed.
I know, like, I know, like, especially Americans, like, there's with the data stuff, they're so like, oh, like when your like boomer aunt puts like, oh, I do not consent my information on Facebook. I'm like, yes, Mark Zuckerberg is gonna see your post today.
Yeah. Good thing you tagged him. He's definitely gonna come read this. Yeah.
It's so funny. I swear that always makes me laugh when I think about that, because I have a cousin who does that all the time, and I'm like, you need to stop. They don't care.
Right. Yeah, it's like you already clicked consent when you signed up for this, buddy. I don't know how to tell you this.
Yeah, and it's like a huge thing, and they own your stuff, like your data. They literally own it.
Well, I mean, there's a great documentary a couple years ago. I'm going to forget the name of it, but it was about social media and things like that. And essentially saying that, if the product is free, it means that you're the product, meaning like, Facebook's free because our data is the product. They want our information. They want our data. That's what's that's why they give this little app to keep us busy on, because all the information we give them is so valuable.
Yeah, they should be paying us, honestly. They should be paying us. I mean, the jobs are disappearing because of AI. Like, the least they could do is pay us for our data that's making them like billions of dollars. But
oh my God, I know, it's crazy.
It really bothers me. Like, I'm like, okay, you could take my information. Like, I don't care, but like, pay me. I don't know, like $20 a question. I don't know.
Yeah. Don't let Peter Thiel hear you say that. That guy will be putting you in a cybernetic prison and putting your mind into some AI cyborg soon. If he's like, oh, you consent to that? Perfect. Izzy's trapped in the Matrix forever.
Dear God. Oh, disgusting.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So, okay, last question. I had Panda Express last night for dinner. How much stock should I put into the fortune cookie that I got with it? Because it seemed pretty accurate.
Well, what did it say?
It said Monday is going to be a good day. So far, it's been okay. No disrespect to you. I'm just very tired.
Maybe you just need to get a birth chart reading, and a transit reading.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you what to do.
Okay. All right. 20% off with Stellar 2025 caps.
All in capitals. Stellar, because my website, my company is called Your Stellar Truth Astrology. So that's why I just put Stellar. Pretty easy. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Izzy, tell people where they can find you. Besides the website, any other social media name? You said you got an ebook, all that. Give your plugs before we get out of here.
Yeah. So I have a Substack. I'll share the link with you to put it in the thing, because Substack has like a million things. It's annoying. I have a Substack. It's called Practical Astrology. I also have an Instagram. It's called Your Stellar Truth. I'm on TikTok as well under the handle Your Stellar Truth. And my website is www.yourstellartruthastrology.com.
Okay.
So you can find me on all those platforms, and I will be making a YouTube very soon as well, because I'm over TikTok. It's too addictive. And
I never got on it.
Yeah, it's great, but like, just don't. Like, it's just too addictive. I think it's so addictive.
Yeah, I really, between I do stand-up comedy, and then I have a comic book project I do, and everyone for both of them was always like, you gotta get on TikTok. And I'm like, I'm not jumping.
Like, I can't deal with it. Yeah.
I can barely deal with Facebook and Instagram. I'm not doing another one. So I don't blame you for wanting to get off it. So All right, well, guys, we're going to get out of here for this week. Go check out Izzy's website. Use Stellar 2025, all in caps, for 20% off any products. Find out where you could fall in love, get better work, or find just a better place to live, or just in general some information on how you can, feel a little better in your day-to-day life. So check out the book, check out the coming YouTube, all the stuff, follow her, and there you go. Anything else before we get out of here?
No, thank you so much for having me. This was great. I loved it. It felt so like a really nice conversation, getting to know you and everything.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate just I always tell people, I'm like, literally I have done almost 500 episodes of this show, and I do like zero prep. I just want to go on.
It's natural.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to feel like a quiz. I want it to feel like we're just talking.
And one more thing. Sorry, my astrologer best friend and I are going to launch a podcast in November.
Okay.
So stay tuned for that as well. I'll be making announcements for that. I am moving. I'm relocating to a new apartment, so that's why we're starting in November, because I'm a mess.
All right.
Life's a mess.
Hopefully that apartment's the right spot on your chart. So all right, Izzy. Well, thank you very much, guys. And again, as for me, go to Deece.comedy or DeeceComedy.com. Check out everything going on across the network. Live stand-up dates coming at you everywhere. Get your tickets. Deece.comedy on Instagram, and Inferno.earth for the comic book. Kill Stand #3 is coming in the next couple weeks. So keep an eye on that page for the launch date. So if you haven't already pre-ordered your copy, you can get your copy and we can get it out to you ASAP. All right, that's it, guys. We're going to get out of here this week. Thanks again for the social hour. I've been Deece, and for Izzy, thank you very much, everyone. And we will see you all next week.